welcome to the Sharp 600, brought to you by Covers.com and presented by Bet365. I'm your host, Jason Logan, Cover Senior Industry Analyst, and joining me, as always, is former odds maker turned pro gambler. You may recognize him from places like CBS Sports and Fox and TSN and your local YMCA men's locker room. It's Mr. Todd Fuhrman. Todd, we put together a pretty solid week of podcast picks in week 4, but we did have a sour finish on Sunday Night Football. And you're blaming hubris and not the Green Bay Packers.
100%. As we 100%.
So we
lay it out.
We promoted a perfect record heading into Sunday Night Football, which I am very much a don't celebrate until the confetti pops kind of guy. However, I was guilty of pushing our perfect record, and it's what's the best way to promote the podcast? It's like, hey, look at what we've done already. Come and take a listen. I get the marketing side of it. I get why the social team, they were happy and proud of us. But yes, I understand what you're saying. I'm very much a don't jinx it kind of guy.
I mean, look, not only am I a professional bettor now, but I was naturally raised as a goaltender. So you want to talk about the worst of both worlds. Yeah. When it comes to superstitions, you don't mention a shutout. You don't mention a no-hitter. You don't mention a perfect game. You don't bring any of that stuff up until it's finally official in the box score. But nonetheless, a good week for us. It's just if we could scrape that Sunday Night Football game from the annals of history, we'd probably be in slightly better standing. And honestly, J-Lo, I watched that first quarter, with that team total bet on your beloved Cowboys under 19.5. I went, you know what? They can play 8 quarters. They're not going to move the football against this Packers defense.
Yep.
There's not going to be a chance. We're going to be able to pad our record a little bit. And lo and behold, about a 32-second span, George Pickens off the milk carton, poor clock management, and it turned into one of the more ridiculous Sunday Night Football games, not just of this season, but we may see in the second highest scoring tie in NFL history.
And I had the double result, we'll remind people, and they had
brutal. That was actually worse. That was worse.
Because there was 35 seconds left, and Green Bay had the ball, and I was like, oh, okay, they'll go down the field, kick a field goal, or it'll just end. And no, Jordan Love gets stripped and sacked, and there we are.
I honestly want to know, and I don't mark down all these markets, especially some of the derivatives and such, what a Cowboys first half game to end in a draw would have potentially paid. If that was the case and you and I had that in the portfolio, there's a good chance we probably would have taken this week off to spend our newfound riches.
Yes, would have been coming to you from some crazy beach somewhere tropical, half in the bag, a lot of fancy fruity drinks. All right, but we didn't. But still, I'll say a pretty solid week for us. Yeah. And we got another
good job, Hunter Henry. Good job with the tight end love. Good job with the tight end love. It's always nice to get a price tag right around $2 or north thereof. So it's definitely a step in the right direction for all of us.
All right, so we build on this. We got a good podcast here today. We're gonna talk a little award futures, which is a very popular prop market. We're gonna get into our best bets for Thursday Night Football, which is Rams and Niners. We got our touchdown anytime bets, so hopefully we can keep moving with that. And then we're gonna bring it on home with our 2-minute drill best bets for week 5. Before we get started, though, I do ask that if you like what we're spitting in your ear here on the podcast, rate and review the Sharp 600. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like this video and then subscribe to the Covers YouTube channel. It's October. It's the greatest month of sports betting, and the guys have daily content for just about everything under the sun. Daily content, daily picks, MLB playoffs underway, so it's a lot of fun right now to follow that channel. All right, Todd, let's look alive. Week 5, 600 seconds on the clock. All right, Chris, I'm going to ask you, can we get a little background Tribe Called Quest going here? I'm taking Todd on the award tour. Little old school hip hop for you. We got 4 weeks behind us, which gets us looking at the NFL honors and who we think will win and where some solid bets could be hiding. Todd, let's start Offensive Player of the Year. Who are you looking at on this board?
So the favorites in this market, I don't think it'll surprise anybody. Puka Nacua putting up video game-like numbers along with Jonathan Taylor in that Colts backfield. But I think there's one receiver, J-Lo, that offers a little bit of opportunity and upside. He's a clear number 1. He's getting almost 40% target share for the Seattle Seahawks, and that'd be Jackson Smith-Njigba. Shop around. I found prices of 20-1 on the low end, even higher out there. This is a guy who's going to have everything at his disposal to throw his hat in the ring.
All right. I'm not going that far out. I'm going to say Bijan Robinson. Plus 500 at Bet365. The biggest thing kind of holding him right back is the touchdowns. He does have 2 of them. He has a rushing and a receiving, and he's doing damage through the air and on the ground, though. Atlanta's offense struggled in the red zone to start the season. However, looking a little bit better. Zach Robinson has made this a point of emphasis that coming out of the week 5 bye week, and he's downfield level now. He's not in the booth calling plays, and we're seeing that reinvigorate this offense. So I think Bijan has some stock rising here for Offensive Player of the Year. Let's talk Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you like here?
You know me, these are the kind of markets where I can't really advocate for betting a favorite, only 4 games under their belt. So I'll go a little bit further down the board here and look at the guy who's becoming the face of the Los Angeles Rams defense, and that'd be Jared Verse. Yes, he's not what we saw from Aaron Donald during his peak years, but Verse is starting to make a massive impact for a team, I think, that has an inside track to win the NFC West, and I like the number that's widely available on Verse, especially at Bet365.
Nice. I was showing my my younger boy some Aaron Donald highlights this past week.
He was a beast.
He absolutely was. And speaking of beasts, I'm going to take TJ Watt plus 20, plus 2,500. Steelers defense the last 2 weeks has looked like the Steelers defense, and Watt's always been the stick that stirs this drink, especially when it comes to the takeaways. A forced fumble, a fumble recovery in week 3, an INT in Dublin last week. He's had 3 sacks in those 2 games. Pittsburgh right now with a patch of winnable games. I looked at their schedule coming out of a week 5 bye. They could easily be 8-3 heading into a showdown with Buffalo in week 13.
Incredible. You watch that team and think after 11 games they could be 8-3, but that is Steelers football personified.
All right, let's go Coach of the Year. What do you like here?
You know, I'm going to, again, go further down the board. I know Shane Steichen and Liam Cohen are grabbing all the eyeballs for the good starts in the AFC South, but I'm going to look in the NFC North. Look, the Bears are quietly 2-2, and they're doing it with improved play from Caleb Williams under center, no ground game to speak of, and a defense that's going to get key reinforcements. Of course, no Jalen Johnson, but if they get Kyler Gordon back, they get TJ Edwards. This is a Bears team who I think can hang around a little bit, maybe flirt with 9 or 10 wins. I think Ben Johnson offers a little bit of opportunity and upside.
Just has to be nicer to sideline reporters. Don't be a dick. And I was going to say Sean McDermott, and I will make a case for Sean McDermott plus 1,600. But the more I got talking about the Steelers, Mike Tomlin has never won Coach of the Year. But should he get this team there again, and should they be successful? We said 8-3 by week 13. This could be one of those, when the Oscars hands out a best of award to someone. It's like
Susan Lucci Lifetime Achievement Award.
Well, it's like they should have won 2 years ago for this role, but they'll give it to him this season. I think Mike Tomlin plus 2,500 is live here, especially the Steelers keep rolling. But McDermott, I think there's a good chance that the Bills could go undefeated or at least have 1 or 2 wins, and he has to be in the running for that. Their 2 toughest contenders down the stretch are going to be Kansas City and Philadelphia, and they get those teams at Orchard Park. And McDermott has the weight of Bills Mafia. He's been able to manage a lot of these early season injuries. Plus 1,600 to win Coach of the Year. Let's talk Comeback Player of the Year. This one's always a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you understand exactly how the voters are going to go, it gives you an inside track to handicapping. The favorite, in my opinion, is Aiden Hutchinson. But look, Darren Waller burst onto the scene on Monday Night Football, going to have an increased role in that Dolphins offense. You could do a lot worse than taking a flyer there. So those would be the 2 guys that I'd look at in this market.
All right, let's jump to MVP. I'm going to take a little bit of a reach, and I'm going to say Baker Mayfield. This is a guy that absolutely wills his team to win. Very, very likable. His stats right now might not be MVP caliber, but he's going to get Mike Evans back. This could be possibly the best receiving core out there. And they have a tough stretch right now, but they're going to play a bunch of soft defenses towards the end of the season. I think that helps him pad the stats. It lifts the Bucs towards the playoffs, top of the conference, and then makes him ripe with recency bias. So plus 2,000 for Baker to win MVP. Who do you like? Most valuable player?
Household name, Patrick Mahomes, going to get weapons back. The Chiefs offense flashed a little bit against the Ravens once you incorporate Rashee Rice. Look, we can't forget about Mahomes. Josh Allen way too short in the market, and Lamar Jackson may miss some time for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, it's insane that's our reacher bet is Patrick Mahomes. All right, we get another NFC West war on Thursday Night Football. We have the ghost of the San Francisco 49ers coming to La La Land to take on the Rams. Lots of injuries there for San Francisco. Todd, how do we sort through this? What do you like?
Yeah, you said NFC West war. I'll go war of attrition for the 49ers, especially on the offensive side. We're not sure who's going to start at quarterback. It's probably going to be Mac Jones. Ricky Pearsall could be out. We know George Kittle's out. Maybe no Jawan Jennings. The 49ers had the ghost of a pass rush last week in their loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you give Matthew Stafford time in the pocket, things are not going to end well. But I think the 49ers do have a path to keeping this game competitive early. It's leaning into Christian McCaffrey, running the football, and trying to shorten the game. So, J-Lo, I'm going to go right back to the same well that fed us last week and go under the first half total at 23.5. Would have no problems if folks wanted to play the Niners team total under, but do shop around, look for a 20.5. I know the majority of books sitting at 19.5.
All right, you said lean into Christian McCaffrey. That's exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go over 58.5 rushing yards. This is a big drop from his first 3 weeks. Those numbers were around 70 yards, give or take. You mentioned the Niners QB situation. Whoever it is, they're going to have to lean into CMC here. And after Sunday's loss, Kyle Shanahan said, we have to do a better job creating explosive runs. And McCaffrey's rushing totals have dipped as his receiving yards have gone up. The Rams really good at covering those pass-catching running backs. But week 5 projections for McCaffrey right now, all above this 58.5 yard total, anywhere from 68 to as high as 83 rushing yards. So CMC over 58.5 rushing yards Thursday night. It's touchdown time. Odds provided by Bet365. Todd, who's getting in?
You know, JLo, this is the first time all season I'm going to bend the rules, and I'm not just going to take one player, I'm going to take two, but at price tags north of 3-1. One of which is an emerging tight end weapon for the New York Jets. Mason Taylor was second on the team in terms of target share in the Monday night game against the Dolphins. You're starting to see what the rookie can add to the passing attack. And you know what? The Miami Dolphins, very favorable matchup against the Carolina Panthers run defense. You lose Tyreek Hill, so they're going to have some goal-to-go opportunities. And it's not going to be Devin Achane inside the 5. It's going to be Ollie Gordon. Both those guys at Bet365, price tags well north of 3-1. Bet them both for half position. We win one. We're bringing in the profit.
All right, we do like to pick on the Panthers, don't we? You did mention the Jets. I'm going to go the Jets quarterback, Justin Fields, plus 175 here. In 2 weeks removed from a concussion now, so he's going to see some more designed runs. He still ran the ball 7 times, 81 yards and a touchdown against Miami on Monday. Dallas has had trouble containing quarterbacks when they do take off. The 6th most rushing yards, and they've allowed 2 TDs to the position. Braylon Allen's injury could see Justin Fields get a little more red zone reps as well. In his TD projections for week 5, very, very positive for him to find pay dirt. So Justin Fields plus 175 for the New York Jets. All right, 2 minutes real time, and that means our best bets for NFL Week 5. Odds, of course, provided by Bet365. Todd, I'll start us off. I'm going to go Detroit Lions minus 6.5 first half against Cincinnati. Ever since stubbing their toe in Week 1, the Lions have been on a mission, and they have kicked in the door and come in firing here the past 3 games. 62 first half points in those 3 games. They're 3-1 ATS versus the first half spread. They take on Cincinnati, which is 1-3 ATS versus the first half spread. And the Bengals just step in front of this freight train. Over the past 2 games, the Bengals have had only 3 drives out of 22 not end in a punt or a turnover. I'm not going to play with the beefy spread in the second half, but I do like the Lions below this key number of a touchdown, minus 6.5 first half.
Well, JLo, I mean, you mentioned the Bengals. They're one of 4 teams through the first 4 weeks of the season that have lost the net yards per play battle in all of their games. It's the Bengals, the Panthers, the Tennessee Titans, and the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. So what am I going to do here? You know I'm taking the points with the Denver Broncos. In my opinion, the better defense and the more dynamic offense. I know it's a short week traveling across the country, but at the same time, Philadelphia's been flirting with disaster. Jalen Hurts 0 for 8 passing in the second half, just 11 yards against the Bucs. Lane Johnson could potentially miss. I get the feeling that Philadelphia flying a little too close to the sun. I'll take the Broncos plus the field goal and a hook.
I like it. I took him in my underdogs column too, so underdog approved. I'll go with Daniel Jones, over 17.5 yards rushing. Cue the John Williams. It's Indiana Jones time. But he got bottled up last week against the Rams. They fell behind. They had to pass a little more than they would have liked. Indy gets to come back home. They're hosting the Raiders, who are going to focus their efforts on stopping Jonathan Taylor. Jones sees plenty of designed runs, but I also think he's going to be running for his life. We're seeing Max Crosby, and we're seeing this Raiders pass rush get going. 9th in win rate right now for that pass rush. Projections for Jones range from 24 to as many as 30 yards. That's a double up, almost a double up on this total. So I like his over 17.5 yards rushing.
A pretty impressive praise from Caleb Williams in the winning effort against the Raiders. Said Max Crosby, the best defensive player that he's ever played against during his football career. I'm going to go to the totals market between the Commanders and Chargers. Yes, I expect Jaden Daniels to be back under center for the Commanders, but will he be a willing runner with a knee that's probably not 100%? This is a Chargers offensive line that is extremely low on starting talent into their depths. I think both these teams are going to lean into the ground game. I don't see much in the way of explosives, and this feels like a big total sitting at 48.5. I'm going under between Commanders and Chargers.
All right. I'm pretty sure we went well over. The horn went a while ago, but that's okay. That's fine. We put another 600 seconds on the clock. A big thanks to Chris. A big thank you to Todd. A big thanks to the folks at Bet365. And, of course, a big thank you to you for taking another 10 minutes out of your day to spend it here and listen to us talk shop about football betting. We ask that if you can find a couple seconds, please rate and review the podcast on whatever it is you choose to listen to us on. If you're a YouTube viewer, like this video, subscribe to the Covers YouTube channel. Like I said, October is the best sports betting month. The boys have everything on there every day for just about every single sport under the sun, so don't miss out there. Todd, I wrote in my column that week 5 is somewhat of a curtains up moment for many teams. We're going to see what they really are all about. What team are you looking at closely this week to see if they're kind of a good or a bad team?
I want to see how the Colts handle a little bit of resilience here, knowing that they let a glorious opportunity to have their signature win of the season slip through their fingers, both literally and figuratively, with A.D. Mitchell fumbling a ball across the goal line, and then only having 10 defenders out there for that 90-yard touchdown reception for Tutu Atwell. Yes, they're a big favorite, but the Raiders are going to come in a bit ornery. They know they let a glorious opportunity slip through their fingers to beat the Bears. You look at the advanced box score, the Raiders were clearly the right side. Let's see how the Colts handle that giant target on their back in this kind of spot. You can't be hungover. You can't be looking ahead. You have to take care of business. So if the Colts are for real, not only do they have to win, in my opinion, they need to exceed odds makers' expectations against the Raiders.
Okay, and they had done that, 3 out of 4 weeks until last week. They were the only 3-0 ATS team heading into week 4, which was crazy. All right, we will be back next Wednesday for week 6. Until then, best of luck with your bets.